Welcome, Beachbody champions, and this is Veronica Cavalcante here. I am so freaking excited to be here today, you guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know, these calls always get me all nervous and stuff. Preparing for this call, you ready for this? I sprayed perfume preparing for this call. So if I make a ton of mistakes, I at least smell good, right? But okay, I'm gonna jump right in and I'm gonna talk to you guys about how I use challenge groups to keep customer retention, right? Because yes, sometimes we feel like getting the customer committed and saying yes is the hardest part. But in actuality, it's not. The hardest part is keeping them committed. The whole goal and the point is for them to stay with us like forever, right? We want them to stay with us forever, and that is our ultimate goal. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to make challenge groups ridiculously fun, right? So before they know it, they've completed a challenge group and they had all this fun. And then they turn around and say, oh my God, I also had a transformation with all this fun. And I'm going to share with you guys a couple of tips and a couple of things that I've adopted throughout my journey as a Beachbody coach and what I've done with my downline and my team and what has worked for us, right? Trial and error. That's what you're going to kind of feel like you're doing all the time when it comes to this business and whatnot, and it's constantly evolving, and that's okay. But one of the things that I love to do with my challenge groups is I like to make it fun, and I like to make it really like a challenge. Like, I want these people to challenge not just themselves, but we're going to challenge each other. And so I've always noticed, and I know Carl had this big aha idea, that people were not committed when it came to themselves. When it was just them, they weren't fully committed. But when they were a part of a team, or they had they were a part of something, then they were committed. So I had that idea and I said, you know what if I were to create a challenge group where I pod everybody? So what I like to do is, and I called it Fit Wars. So I have this challenge group called Fit Wars, and I like to pod everybody into teams. And then I have a team captain for every team. And that gives my, up and coming leaders a role as a leader. And they're starting to dip their toes into like leadership. So I give everybody, I usually do teams of like either 5, 10, 15. I mean, sometimes when it gets really big, there's been times that we've had teams of like 20. And so we have a team captain, and we pod everybody into teams. And what we do is we go against each other, right? We go against each other in these challenge groups. And one of the things that I love about this is that, one, the community is amazing. So now they're not being like thrown into a big challenge group and kind of getting lost in there. No, now they're a part of a big team, but then they're a part of a little team inside of that group. And the team captain is responsible to potting them and keeping like a group motivation chat going on the side, and a place to comfortably talk smack about the other teams and how they're going to beat the other teams. And so it creates relationship, and coaches start meeting, I mean, customers start meeting other customers, and it just becomes a really pretty thing. It becomes pretty awesome. So I have found that Fit Wars has been like amazing, and it's been great when it comes to like retaining and retention, because then they're up for the next challenge. They had so much fun with this challenge. And the way I do it is like, okay, top 3 teams earn prizes. And so it gives us the opportunity to really jump into our, not only our fitness journey, but to jump into a challenge group and kind of like go and battle out with other people. So I also don't stick to just one type of challenge group. So I like to change it up, right? We're not going to be doing Fit Wars over and over and over, right? Because that can kind of get boring after a while. So what I like to do is change it up. Like, I change it up a little. And another thing, and I can't take credit for this one. This was actually my sister came up with this one, and we called it excuse me for my language, but it's called Battle of the Badasses. And so what we do, it's a dual challenge. So you are to partner up with somebody. Again, I've noticed that if you do a challenge group and the person is just accountable to themselves, they just don't stick. The first week is like amazing, and the energy is high, but then it's like second, third week, it's like, right? I mean, come on, I'm not the only one here, right? So we had to figure out a way to like make it where people stay on track and they stay committed and they stay in the groups. So my sister came up with the Battle of the Badasses, which we called it, and it's a duel challenge. And so you were to partner up with somebody, and again, same concept. We partner up with somebody, talk smack in there, and who's gonna win, and team whatever, and team names, and the people come up with the funniest team names, and it's created such a high energy in all my challenge groups, and the energy has stuck throughout the entire challenge. Contrary, when the energy is, I mean, when the challenge group is over, people are asking like, when's the next one? Like, what's next? And that comes to my other thing. I also like to do like health bets. Health bets have been really successful when it comes to my challenge groups. And some of the things that I like to do inside of a challenge group is I like to throw in pop-up challenges. I call them pop-up challenge. And so if you're in a Fit Wars and you're trying to earn points for your team, you want to do the pop-up challenge. If you're in a duel challenge, you want to do it because you want to earn points for your team, right? It's not just about you now, it's about earning points and contributing to the team. And so in this case, like I'll do different pop-up challenges just to make it fun. I'll say, okay, guys, share your lunch today, and it better be healthy. Yeah, so things like that. And so everybody has to go and scramble and take a picture of their lunch, and they don't know what my pop up challenges are going to be. So that's what makes it so exciting. And they're constantly engaged in the group, waiting for those pop up challenges, right? So I have found that when you keep it fun and you keep it exciting and new and not just the same, like logging your shake and logging your workout, it doesn't work. It wasn't working, and so we had to get a little creative and so those are some of the things that I love to do. And another thing that we've kind of adopted in our team. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but we do what's called energized dance parties, and people absolutely love that. And let me tell you, people that are in my challenge groups that don't have energize, when they see us doing the energized dance parties, they're like, okay, I'm gonna order. And then guess what, the more things that they get involved in with our tools and the products we have, the more committed they're going to be and stay on board, right? And that is the goal is for them to stay with us, to stick with us forever, right? Okay. And another thing that I like to do in my challenge groups, and I always end my challenge groups with a sneak peek, a coaching sneak peek. So I explain the perks of coaching. So I explain the business side of it in the coach sneak peek, and then I also explain the discount side of it, right? So if somebody's gonna commit, I mean, whether they become a working coach or they become a discount coach, it's just coaching is the way to go, right? Because if they're gonna stay committed to their journey, to their health journey, why not take advantage of the discount? And so I have had a lot of success with keeping people committed by giving the sneak peek and then them, onboarding them onto the coaching side of it, which comes to my next topic. How do I keep coaches? How do I keep coaches engaged? How do I keep coaches from, growing and how do I make it so that coaches can and duplicate what I do, right? The goal is to get people to duplicate what we do. I'll tell you guys, I keep it ridiculously simple. I do not like vomit on them like everything. Just like when we're getting somebody a part of the into the business, or not into the business, when we get them to buy a challenge pack, our initial instinct is to vomit all the information on them. But if you were to stop and just like say, no, okay, let me listen to first what they have to say and what they want, then I can tackle it in different ways. And so some things, I have a 3 steps. It's just 3 steps. It's as simple as that. So I like I said, I keep it super simple. And my first step is, okay, they became a coach. Whether they became a coach as a discount or whether they became a coach as I want to work the business or I have amazing results and, talk to me a little bit more about this business. My first thing I give them is the new coach guide. And I keep the new coach guide ridiculously simple. I don't give them a lot of work. Contrary, my new coach guide, I'm getting to know them. I'm asking them a ton of questions. I'm asking them questions like, what is it that you want out of this business? Or what do you consider yourself? One of my questions is, what kind of coach do you consider yourself? Hobby coach? Coach just for the discount? Coach, I want to become a working coach. I want to replace my income. Like everybody comes into this with different wants, right? If we were to just vomit what we want them, we were not going to get anywhere. And so I had to ask them a lot of questions. I then, in the middle of asking questions, I throw in there. My new coach has, for instance, I talk about Success Starter. I don't talk about how to become a Success Starter. I just talk about what is Success Starter. Hey, guess what? We have this thing called Summit, and it's an amazing event. And if you become a Success Starter and you will have one shot at doing that in your first 6 months of being a coach, you can earn your trip to our summit, amazing event, right? And so I just talk about a little bit about Success Starter. I talk about the Success Club trip. Oh, and I put pictures in there of in my new coach guide. By the way, I forgot to mention, my coach guide is done with Google Docs. So easy to use. If you do not have some sort of system that you're using, I highly recommend Google Docs. It's easy for people to duplicate. It's easy to use. You can YouTube a quick video on how to get it started and you'll have it up and running. And I just send people Google Docs. So in my new coach guide, Google Doc, I'm asking questions. I'm trying to figure out their personality. I'm talking about Success Starter. I'm talking about the Success Club trip, right? I talk about Summit. I share about the Summit event, and I share about the perks of going to Summit and whatnot. And then the last thing I tell them to do, and this is the only homework they have, is set up your back office. That is it. My new coach guide is just that. So once they're done with the new coach guide, I come and I read it and I say, okay, so this person wants this, 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 this. If they just want to be a coach for the discount, I leave it alone. That's it. I keep checking in on them and keep seeing if because that changes, right? So they started off as a coach for the discount, but sometimes that changes. But if they want any type of extra income or any of the perks like the Success Club trip or earning your trip to Summit as a Success Starter, if they're intrigued or interested in that, 10 out of 10 times the next step is what? Emerald, right? So my next Google Doc, which is the second one that I use, is Coach to Emerald. And again, I keep it super simple. Super simple. In my Coach to Emerald, it's how to create a share cart. They're going to need to know how to do that so they can get people to join their team. I talk about Success Club goals. So I talk about in there, okay, so if this is what you want, this is what you need to do. Minimum 3 people a month, right? And I talk about the perks of hitting Success Club, qualifying for Success Club. The perks are if you hit Success Club and you're an Emerald coach and you have Shakeology or anything 90 PV or more on HD, guess what? Like Beachbody's gonna help you out and give you customers next month. Like how awesome is that? And when people read that, they're like, what? Like heck yeah! Like I only need to get 3 people, and I tell them that I talk about that. And the last thing I talk about now, I'm talking about, okay, Success Starter. Now let's talk about what it takes to be a Success Starter. That's when I say you need to hit Success Club, qualify, 3 months, your first 6 months of coaching. And I also talk about, again, I remind them the purpose of it. So that is it. That is all I talk about in my Coach to Emerald Google Doc training, right? Again, try to keep it super easy. I'm not trying to vomit on them, a bunch of the information that honestly it's going to go through one ear out the other. And most times it might even just make them like anxious and like, oh my God, okay, this is too much, and push back, right? So you might be doing a disservice by vomiting all of the information. So I try to keep it super short. Once they achieve Emerald, all right, and they achieve Emerald and they're like, I did it, coach, which we know it could happen in a day, right? Once they achieve Emerald and they qualify their first or second month of Success Club, I say, okay, you're ready for the next step. You ready? So then I give them the Emerald to Diamond Training Google Doc. And that's my third one. So those 3 are my onboarding system. And in that, again, I keep it super simple. I talk about preferred placement. Like let's do this because now you're earning what's called team volume. And I get a little bit into team volume. The team volume bonuses that we get. the Team Cycle bonuses. I'm sorry, Team Cycle bonuses. I talk a little bit about that. Since now you've unlocked the beautiful world of Team Cycle bonuses, let's figure out a way to put your placement so that way you're getting maximum income, right? You're getting the max income. So I talk about weak leg, strong leg, and that's it. And then I also do, this is where I say, and listen, if you want to get to diamond, if you want to become successful in this type of business, if you want any type of growth in this business, this is a must. You must do this. And that is the daily business activity tracker. I am hands down a 100% believer on that tracker, and it works. Because when I have coaches that come to me and say that it's not working or something's or they're having trouble, the first thing I say is, let me see your tracker. And then it's like crickets. And it's like, you're not doing it. So start on that, and I bet you'll start getting the momentum. So I'm very big on talking about that. This right here is it's going to get you do this every single day, and eventually with time and everything, you will start seeing success, right? And then I talk about, okay, now it's time also to create a diamond plan. This is what diamond looks like. Start filling it out. And this is usually around the time that I will do a one-on-one call with my coach and get them started on the next level. So again, guys, I keep it super, super simple. The simpler it is, the easier it is. It's duplicatable. Like, let's be real. So then my leaders, my up-and-coming leaders, can turn around and say, oh, wow, I can do this, right? Because if we make it super complicated and we overcomplicate it for them, then they're going to feel like, oh, man, this is too much for me. I don't think I can do it. So I try to keep my onboarding system really, really easy. And I try to do, kick butt challenge groups, make it fun and energetic. And so that is my tips for you guys. I hope it helped. I hope you guys took away some nuggets from this. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll try to get back to them. And hopefully this gave you some value or whatnot. So take care, guys, and God bless. Bye.